Good morning. We are here for morning musings. This is Tara Stryker from TSW Life Coaching. She is an amazing person. If you want to reach your soul and see what it requires to heal, to manifest, to grow, to listen, all of it, she is your girl to really go deep down. She really listens to each of her people that she works with, their soul. Yeah. So welcome everyone. We are here, of course, every other Monday to talk about whatever comes up. We have been talking before here and we've decided we just go off the cuff here. We don't really have anything that's set in stone, no agenda. We're talking today about spiritual ego. I just feel that this is a big topic right now. It is really on the surface as we continue to shift and grow and change and, you know, allow the old stories to fall away. So,
Mhm.
well,
Okay, well, you should say who you are because I put it on my
oh,
YouTube channel
okay.
too. So,
Oh, sorry. I am Sue Pickering, Soulworks by Sue Pickering. Um, I am a soul coach as well. I just do things differently. We tap into the things that are going on in your life and how to move through what's stuck. It kind of the same as Tara, mostly the same, I guess, but it just everyone works in their own gifted way. And I'm also a psychic reader, so I do a lot of readings, and through my readings, I often do the coaching. So yeah, welcome.
mm, all right, there we go. Now let's jump into spiritual ego.
Yeah.
So, I would say in my journey so far, my spiritual ego, which I have nicknamed the Overlord, because it's one of the hardest aspects that I've had to deal with and one of the loudest. Um, I wasn't necessarily raised in spirituality a bit, uh, but very much taught about like wider spirituality, not religion. Um, and so a lot of the things that I truly believe are truth were latched onto by my spiritual overlord, spiritual ego. And then they became just a new way for my ego to say, this is how you do it. And you're a bad girl if you don't do it this way. And so it's like, oh, I have to meditate, or oh, I have to be positive, or oh, I have to be love and light, or whatever the rules kind of were that I picked up from the spirituality community. But like I said, my ego attached to it and made that the conditions to be a good spiritual person or a bad spiritual person. And that is so not truth. That's just another level of, and for many, a new level of conditioning that's attached to spiritual principles. No different than the ego that says you're a good girl if you work a 9 to 5 or you work hard, or you're a bad girl. It's just now has spiritual concepts. And what I found really hard about that is because it's things that I absolutely believe in and absolutely know are truth. But now it's put parameters on around that, on how to be good or bad. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely. And I think like so much is like you said, the conditioning that we go through. I personally have been going through a little bit of drama. And it's like I was caught between what I know and boundaries and all of the things and doing the right thing for the people that I am that this is about. So I was doing that battle the last few days. It's crazy how we I go into that space. Is this my ego wanting to be right? Is this my ego that is telling me to do this or that, or to be heard? Or is this a space where I need to pull in my spiritual wisdom, my inner soul, and say, okay, what is ego? What is, the good girl thing? And, you know, going back into my spiritual aspects rather than being pulled out of that into the everyday ego drama stuff. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it is really hard, I find, to decipher if it's spiritual ego or if it's part of my spirituality journey and my wholeness. And like I said, that's why I call it the overlord, because it's just so, you know, bossy. And so it's so conditioned to, this is how you do it, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. So even when we talk, like we talked about shadow work the other week, it's like, oh, well, don't be angry. If you're a spiritual person, you're not angry. That's bullshit. And so, but that's that ego attachment to, oh, I have to be all love and light, so I can't be angry, or I can't speak my truth, or I can't, like that kind of thing. And so it's another layer, but it's hard because it's such truths, like it's truths that I hold to my heart. And so when it tells me, then it's like, okay, wait a minute here. And I have to really, it always catches me up too, where I have to really kind of tune in and go, is that my ego or is that my truth? Is that my soul speaking, kind of thing? Because sometimes love and light is a little bit nasty. Sometimes love and light is a little bit loud. Sometimes love and light is a little bit angry, or, into those shadows and stuff like that. And I know we talked about a lot with the shadow about, bringing light to it. And so that's what I mean by, is the love and light the shadow? Absolutely, but it's bringing the light to it. So it's all
Absolutely.
of that. It's not bypassing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I can only speak for myself in my journey, in my healing, in my growth and learning. The deeper we go, the quieter we go, the more inward we go, we can learn to decipher what is, the ego, or what is, our soul speaking. And learning, just because for me, beliefs and truths are two different things. For me, the belief is can be a conditioned thing, but your truth is your soul speaking. And sometimes we need to go inward to see, where we balance out in the love and light aspect. Because yes, love and light is duality, and we need to have the duality to follow um, where we need to go, whether it's through our ego and stepping forward to learn that lesson one more time, or to learn again, or really following that internal gut that our soul is saying, you know what, step this ego aside. This is not your truth.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. Um, I think our truths are our truths, and that's our soul. And anything, for me, anything that comes from a place of right or wrong or good or bad or any of that duality part is not truth. Because when you're truly in that spiritual state, and for me, or in that soul state, then everything is just is. It just is. There's no right or wrong, good or bad, any of that, because that's the ego that needs to attach to, because it needs that duality so that it can save you by making the wrong choice from making the wrong choice or whatever, because there is no wrong, and there is no wrong when it comes to your soul. Because for me, we don't make mistakes, we have opportunities and learning and things like that. It's the ego that attached to the word mistake, and it's the ego that attached to everything is just an experience, and what we label it is what I think is the ego,
Yeah, I agree.
spiritual otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where often we go into our wrongness, or what we feel might be our wrongness. what we've been labeled as or what someone has said to us. So we go into that wrongness. We go into, I'm not enough, I am not deserving, all the things. And that's your spiritual ego. That is keeping you right exactly, in that stuck moment, in those spaces that you can't grow from, or you can, but you have to dig deeper to get there.
Yeah. And it's a lot harder, like you said, the further you go along. For me, all aspects of my ego, spiritual and otherwise, are attached to wounding and conditioning. And so it's very much like you said, that not enoughness is the core for a lot of people. And I don't know, however you word it, you can say not enough, not worthy, not valuable, whatever word kind of resonates, because each of you will have a different word that resonates with you. But it is that it needs that duality because it's trying to save you from being wounded. So it's like, oh, this is a good spiritual person. So this is what you do. Because if you don't, then you're not enough. And so it's trying to save you from ever feeling that, but in a very effed up way. I caught myself. It tries to save you from that wounding, but yet is the first to jump on the bandwagon to criticize. So it's this really weird kind of combination of no, no, don't do that, and then picks on you for not doing it good enough. And so it's really just kind of this warped little wounded being.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. So what do you do when you notice that this is what's happening? You see your wounds. You are, I'm not saying you're a victim to the wounds, but we have a tendency to go, well, I'm not enough, or label it however you want us to label it. But what do you do to kind of recalibrate that and move where you need to move? I would love to hear.
Nothing. I let myself, no, I'm just kidding.
I just keep picking myself apart.
Yeah. Um, it is, like I said, when I notice it, like you said, it's not always easy to notice, but when I do notice it, um, I used to like shut up, that kind of thing, which I didn't find very helpful, because I was fighting, warring with myself and wounding even more a part of myself. So now I more so um, just become the awareness behind it and go, okay, I see you. I hear you. I know you're scared. I know you're, whatever your story is. Um, whatever, whatever I listen to it and I go, okay, I hear you. I'm letting you speak your story, but I'm not attaching to your story, because that's not my truth, is kind of what I say. But I really have learned to hold space for it, to allow it to have its 2 year old tantrum of, whatever. And if there is definitely some wounding that I can understand or some conditioning, then I do the work that comes up with that. So either I do healing with the flower essences, or I yeah, change up conditioning or reprogram or things like that. But I've learned to more so practice being that awareness behind it and letting it have its voice, because otherwise it's like a tantruming child. The more you ignore it, the louder it gets.
Yep, for
And
sure.
sometimes I have to laugh at it, because sometimes the victim stories that it comes up with are just plain funny. And you're like, whoa, you're having a day today.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that acknowledgement alone is huge, right? It pulls you out of resistance, I feel. And I know, like, I love that you said not attaching to your story or the story of what is happening. That is huge because it's never true. The stories we tell ourselves are never true. And you keep processing it over and over in your mind, and well, you'll end up manifesting what your story is telling you to manifest. Your ego will be so strong that it takes peace away, right? It takes that space for you to be in no resistance and to be in flow away, because you just can't function because it's running in the background all the time.
And I think when you say manifest, I think for me, what that is that it's not I've actually created it, but I've shown that I need to learn that lesson at a deeper level. And so I haven't really got to that truth and come back to my wholeness and come back to listening to my soul. So I'm saying to the universe, show me this again. Show me this. Help me because I'm not really getting it, obviously, if I'm attached into that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times in people's lives that the same, they break through, they have their gain, I'll call it. I don't know, you could relate it to whatever you want. And then all of a sudden it kind of reprograms itself, and then all of a sudden it pops back in. And it's like we don't want to give it any energy toward it.
No. But our healing definitely happens in the spiral. And so we're brought back to the same things. And I don't like the word test because it
Yeah.
makes it feel very pass faily. But the universe always gives us the opportunity to go, how are you going to react to this? And you say this is what you want. You say this is what you um this is who you are. Now here's your chance. So is this who you are, or are you going to go back? Are
Yeah.
you going to go like latch on to the story? And I love that you brought up victimhood because that is a key signal for me that it's my ego.
Yeah.
Because with that duality comes the victim story, right?
Yeah.
And so it definitely ego loves the victim story.
Yeah. And it brings you right back. It brings you right back to where you came from. Like it really does. It's like, yeah, but this didn't happen. Well, that's complete victim. Or I needed this, or it's all victim is a deep, it's a big word. Like it really truly is. It's like fear is a big word. Like there's some big, big words that are tend to try and, tell us a story. And we get caught up in those all the time. It's I don't know. I don't know how to explain that, but people's words, when
The
I'm
Cookie Monster.
there you go. That's right. And when I'm listening to people's words, I'm like, oh, like it doesn't even need to feel sorry for me. There's some, I can't even pick one out of my head right now, but there's some big things there for victimhood, and the stories that come about within, right?
I think absolutely. Mine lots of times attaches to unfair, like unjust. And so it's like, I can't believe, or why me, or that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Mine really likes that. And even about, you know, which I don't know if I should say this, but is what it is. Like even with being a widow, sometimes my ego will attach to that and like, why me? And it's such a hard thing. And I know from a soul level that that's not my truth. And yes, I miss him, and yes, everything else, and I can do the grieving. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that sometimes the ego attaches to it because it really likes that victim.
Yeah.
And to me, that's very much that wounding, because that's very much like if you think of like a wounded child or something like that, it wants attention because it's wounded. And so that's why I learned not to just be like, well, shut up, ego, you're stupid. Because that's just continuing to wound it. And so that's why I give it space now and allow it to have its little tantrums and have learned to most times. Not saying I never go down there because I go down the rabbit hole sometimes. Um, but it's just to allow it to have what it needs to say. And I treat it like that wounded. Like I said, it's okay. Have your say, have your tantrum, get it out, and then we'll come back to our truth, which is the spirituality part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The spiritual truths.
That's right. That's right. And and it's funny because like you mentioned the widow part, I can't imagine, so I can't put myself in your space. But you see other people and you see their happiness and you like, is that a trigger for you, right? For you to go back into that, oh, poor me. I'm not saying you ever do that because I don't feel you ever do that, but I'm just using that for an example. There's so many things that happen in our lives that we go, it and I'm not saying it's jealousy for you, but for some people, it's like, oh, I'm jealous because they just got this. Um, it's not that, it's a space where you can go, hey, I am not where I would love to be right now. What do I need to be? What do I need to do rather than being a victim of it, right? It's, like seeing, like when I say jealousy, seeing someone have a brand new house that you desire to have. Um, I mean, what's important to you is important to you, right? But we go into those spaces of, oh, I don't have that. I shouldn't say we because not everyone does. I typically don't go there with stuff like that, but it brings out those things for us to look at and go, hey, wait a minute. If I'm feeling like this toward this person or the subject of whatever this is, what am I needing to look at that I'm not feeling like a victim or I'm
Yeah.
not feeling like I'm less than because I'm not there yet?
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, less than, because that's definitely the ego story, is all that, like I said, feeds that not enough. And that's that victim of, well, how come they have a big house and I don't? Like, and that's just the very, like you said, victim's a very big word. And a lot of people are very, well, especially because we're taught in society too, that victim is um something to not attach, well, not attached, I don't know what the word is. um Victim is taught as like a bad, or kind of a bad thing, which it's not a place to stay in. But there's definitely um parts of ourselves that need to express that, and so it's about allowing them to, but not allowing that to take over, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And you had said something to me last weekend. We were at a market together and we were just having a chat. Perception of where you think you need to be or what you feel that you should have already, or perception of what you think this situation is about. That's your perception. Is it reality? No. Right? So it is, that's huge. And sometimes we feel we need to be something or somewhere or with someone or doing something, or and it's like, or we don't have enough. Well, that's your perception. Do you have enough? Right? It's that materialistic world in a lot of cases, right?
Absolutely.
So, and that can bring you into victimhood too.
Hmm. Absolutely. And it's also because I'm just the way you're saying it too. Lots of times that comes from the comparison thing. And so when we come back to the truths of our souls, we're always enough, and we are exactly where we're meant to be. What we have is enough. We are always safe. And that's why I say the wounding part too, because what just we are always safe is that's where a lot of it stems from. And a lot of it stems from that lack of, and that I'm not safe at the core of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which brings in all of the stories, the ego. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're good for today. Are we?
I don't know. Are we?
Yeah, I
It's
feel
such
we
a
are.
big topic.
It is. You could go for hours about this, right? In so
Oh,
many
absolutely.
in many directions. So, pop your questions in the comments because, if you need some guidance or if you're just like, how do I get through this? Ask and we'll see if we can give you some clarity and direction. And yeah.
I have a question for you. How do you know when it's your soul or an aspect of your ego?
Because like for me, I have done enough healing that I know when I'm battling something. If I am battling, that's my complete ego. I get frustrated. I just like, and then I start getting well, I'll show you. I can do it better or something. It's just like
Yeah.
maybe that's not it, but um because I'm typically not like that, but I get to a space if I let it my ego control for too long, I kind of get worked up. I just like and I'm not in flow. I'm not listening. I'm a very stubborn person, I will say that.
Mm.
Um and when I have something in my mind, it's like, look out because I'm just going to do it. Right. But that's what I go into that space where I'm battling. So I have to pull back. I have to, like you say, you used to just shut up. Right. No, I need to shut up and I need to sit back and I need to really listen because I ask the questions. Is this my ego? Is this a space where, you know, I just want to be right? Is this a space where, right? That's all ego. It's not a space where you are in flow and, it's a judgment, right? Um on myself, not on other people. Um but I go where I really listen and I have to go back to that breath and that feeling of what is in tune with me and what isn't
Yeah.
and moving. Yeah. It doesn't take me long because I've just taught myself I know my triggers and I'll just go, hey, wait a minute, right? And I just pull away and allow, and that's what I need to do.
I think yeah, it's a lot for me too. And I think the more you come along your spiritual journey, you get to know right away because it doesn't feel very good.
Yeah,
When you're
exactly.
used to operating in flow and you're used to operating from your soul and wisdom
Yeah,
and spiritual truth, then it feels very, whoa, okay, that doesn't feel very good. So
yeah,
you get to notice that trigger or what that is feels like in your body. For
yeah,
me, a lot of times too, when it's really trying to be sneaky, is I have to question, is this coming from love or is this coming from fear? Because if it's coming from fear, then it's definitely ego.
yeah,
If it's coming from love, then it's not.
yeah,
Because ego is fully fear motivated
yeah,
at whatever level. And that's why the control thing, that's why the wound thing, all of that is all fear. And so that's my quick kind of, is this message coming from fear or is it coming from love?
yeah. And I can honestly say it doesn't happen very often for me anymore. I have really practiced non-attachment. Like for me, I can't attach to an outcome. I can't attach to, the people and what they're doing. They're on their journey. I'm on mine. I can't attach to any of that. So it's really, really helped me to be in flow more and really listen to my guidance rather than get caught up. But once in a while, you do get caught up and the story continues to be stronger than what really is resonance within the soul. So, yeah,
Yeah. And like I said, that, yeah, it happens for me sometimes too. Around some very specific things that I know that I'm, but like I said, the healing is spiral. So it's my chance to come back. And I've started not that recently, but more so going, okay, I haven't learned that lesson yet. I'm ready for a new level of it. I need to see it from a new level. Thank you for showing me this universe. Thank you for showing me where I'm still not where I say I want to be or where I say I am or that kind of thing because I haven't obviously because it's coming back up again
yeah, yeah.
and I'm attaching to it in a
That's right.
way.
And that creates resistance, right? And I do the same thing. Okay, like, okay, what am I not seeing? What I'm not getting? Like, show me what I need to do here. What do I need to be? Well, who do I need to do? Who do I need to do? Who do I need to be? What do I need to
Well,
do?
that's a totally different story. And that's a different show.
That's right. Well, we can do anything we want here.
That's
Um,
true.
but I go into that's where I go. I go into I give up. You have to help me out here because I can't, I can't try to be something that's not working anymore.
Yeah. I don't want to do this anymore. I often say that. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So show me how
Yeah.
to let this go finally.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, and I think time back to spiritual ego, and then we can go because I know we were almost done.
Yep.
But I think a lot of times it's that we have learned spirituality, but we haven't embodied it, is I think a lot of times what it is. And so we like to practice and we like to preach, which I've been there too, all the spiritual things like love and light and all of that, but we haven't embodied it. So we are living out of alignment because we it's like saying, "Oh, I know Chinese because I read a book." Okay, but I don't speak it or I can't, like that kind of
Yep.
thing. And so it's knowing it, but not truly living it
Yes.
is the big difference.
Embodiment is mass. We could go a whole long ways with that one. Embodiment.
Let's not.
Yeah, that's right. Embodiment is huge. It is huge in our path um in knowing how, especially in our world, like most of our connections are all leaders. They're people who are, healing. They're the light workers. They're helping. They're leaders. They're entrepreneurs, most of them, right? If we cannot embody what we are trying to sell, how do we sell it,
Yeah.
right? Is it on a space of spiritual ego, or is it, something that is, I don't know. So,
Yeah. I think we should stop there because
yes,
that's going to bring up a whole different thing.
yes,
But it's definitely that to me is a big part of it is
yeah,
that embodiment
yeah, for
piece.
sure. Yeah. So, I would love for you to talk about, I am hosting Tara. I am so excited to host a workshop via Zoom with Tara. I'll let you take it away with that. I'll let you. So exciting.
Okay. So we are going to do Divine Feminine Rising, and we're mainly gonna I'll talk a little bit about what the divine feminine energy is, along with divine masculine, and the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, because each of us has that within us, all four. And I've been gifted as part of my gifts that I can really kind of tune into how they interplay with each other because there's this beautiful dynamic between the four of them that has to flow. And so when I work with people, a lot of times that's what comes up for me is different areas of that either rising or being released and how that's showing up within the body, within the soul, within the lessons, all of that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, we're going to get together and hopefully it's going to be, my hope is to be a support to whoever comes, because I'll talk a little bit about what they all are and then leave it more open to questions because it's different. It's such a dynamic process that's different for everyone.
And I do believe that we learn from our own life examples rather than putting it on paper, and then you have to embody it. How about we leave it with that?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be able to embody it. And I do believe that we learn from each other, and it is a space where we can, I personally am saying, I can bring in some of the things that I have been noticing going on with, the the um the feminine and the masculine, as well as, excuse me, that wounded space. The wounded space that does come up in different ways, such as victimhood. Right? It's all part of that. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so watch for that. We'll be advertising for that. I'm gonna see if I can get some of my peeps together for that and have a little workshop.
Excellent. I'm excited. I love talking about it. I could talk about it forever.
And you are a master at it. Like sometimes when I hear what you have to say, and I never realize that sometimes it is a masculine and feminine, and I do know that the rise of the feminine is here. We are living
It
it,
is.
and there's a lot crumbling and a lot coming to the surface and rising up, and it's beautiful.
It
Beautiful.
is so beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thank everyone for being here. I appreciate all of you, and thank you, Tara, once again, as always.
Thank you. I always love chatting with you.
Awesome. Have a great one.